Hey, champs. So there's been quite a bit of hubbub in the community for a while now, and I mean by a while now I mean like the past 7 years about a major update, major quote unquote major update to Team Fortress 2. And one thing that I haven't really heard anyone talk about is what they mean when they really say that, because according to quite a number of people in the community, we've been getting major updates. We've been getting Smiths and Scream Fortress and the occasional summer update. And those updates are pretty, well, quote unquote, major. Get a lot of new maps and we get a lot of new hats and everything. I mean, I just made a video about how the game feels bloated because we're getting so much new content. Are those not major updates? I know what everyone means, trust me. They're not talking about a lot of content. They're talking about something from the good old days. Something like Jungle Inferno. Jungle Inferno is universally considered to be the final major update of Team Fortress 2's lifespan. But what I wanted to talk about was something that not a lot of people talk about. What makes a major update major? What separates something like Jungle Inferno and the Uber update or Love and War, all generally agreed upon to be major updates? What doesn't make the past 7 years of updates major updates? A lot of people in the community may tag the more recent updates not as major updates, but seasonal updates, at least going by the official TF2 wiki. But that wasn't how it always used to be. See, the TF2 wiki used to identify these kinds of updates as major updates, but I guess as they piled on more and more, the change was kind of made to where they're now under a new label of seasonal updates. So that's it. Question answered. What makes a major update major? Just don't be related to a season, right? That's it. Not really. We all know that there was a different aura to the kind of update that we're asking for. We all know that what we're getting now, just because it's called a season, summer, or Scream Fortress, or Christmas update, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not as good, and if it were to be called something else, doesn't really mean that we'd be getting what we want. So we're screaming and clamoring for a quote-unquote major update, but we don't really even know what we want. So that's kind of what I want to do in this video, is to identify what we really want when we say, well, I want a major update. I want to start by talking about what separates Jungle Inferno, or all of these updates that came prior to it that are beloved by the community, from the updates that we're getting now. One thing that I've noticed with some of the more beloved updates from the game's past is that they had strong theming and cohesiveness. Jungle Inferno, what is that themed after? Well, it's themed after the jungle. Love and War, well, what was that themed out of? Well, it was actually themed out of the sort of cinematic that we got. The bread monsters, some of the cosmetics came directly from the little short that we got. And of course, every single class seemingly got their own updates centered around them. Nowadays, if we get a summer update, it's all over the place. We get basically just a bunch of shit added to the game at one time. Whatever the most popular thing or things are on the workshop, that's what's gonna get added. And there's not really a cohesive unit or theme that ties it all together. And when there is a theme, like fucking Jingle Jingle Christmas bullshit, it feels forced and contrived, like we're really trying to make you believe that it's Christmas season, and there's not really a whole lot of soul in that, and I think a lot of people can tell. With the themes of the past, it felt like there was a purpose behind it, even if that theme was something that was just made up. Why are all the mercs fighting in the jungle? Well, it's because Saxton Hale needs something for entertainment because he killed all the fucking Yetis or whatever the fuck. Why is this update called Man vs. Machine? Well, it's because there's a new fucking game mode where you kill a bunch of robots. Why is this update called the Replay update? Well, it's because we added a replay feature, and with that, we're gonna be getting a lot of cinematic stuff. We're gonna be getting, like, we're going to the movie theater. Yeah, we're heading on awards. It's the Oscars. You see how strong that theming is? On top of that, every theme was original. It wasn't just, it's Christmas again, Scream Fortress again. Now, of course, there were Christmas and Scream Fortress updates, but the major updates, the ones that people really enjoyed, were the ones that felt fresh and new because the theming was entirely different from anything else. And the cosmetics, the taunts, the maps even, they all felt tied together. Even if they weren't tied against the main theme. One of the Smithmas updates, for example, added medieval mode, and a lot of the new weapons sort of bared a resemblance to something you would find in a medieval war melee battle. So the content added felt circulated, focused, and dare I even say purposeful. It gave it soul and meaning. Here's another difference between some of the updates we get now and some of the updates we used to get that I know a lot of people miss, and that was the great promotion of the updates and the hype generated through the shorts or, man, those update pages. It wasn't just the community that was generating that hype. Valve themselves were purposeful with all of the hype they were trying to generate and all the promotion. A short is the most clear example of Valve saying, here is an update. We are releasing an update. Get excited for it. We're really happy and we're really proud it's coming out. But those update pages worked wonders as well. Of course, there is the old school day 1, 2, and 3 for every single update, which for those who don't know, when an update was very, very near, we would get days 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 4. And the content would be trickle-fed towards us before the updates launch. So, day 1, you'd see the new weapons. Day 2 would be a brand spanking new feature along with maybe some of the maps. Day 3 would maybe be some bug fixes or balance changes. And day 4 would be whatever the fuck else they never shown. Accompanying all of this would be some really great SFM graphics that would really make the update page itself come alive and just feel great. I mean, we don't get that kind of care anymore. And although, yes, that is all cosmetic, it's indisputably something we are not getting anymore and something that people miss. I think that these are a must for a major update. And finally, I think it's important to note the polish and quality is important. Okay, like, yeah, no shit. Everyone wants their update to be polished and to have quality. What does that mean? Well, it's no secret that a lot of updates that have come out recently have launched with bugs and maybe missing textures and a lot of things that really make the update feel unfinished. Now, no update came without bugs. That was a very ritualistic feature almost with major updates. But if you gave it a few days, the new content would work, and it wouldn't just work or function as intended. It wouldn't just be a new map that's broken and plays like shit. It would be a map that's broken, and then a few days later, it would actually play pretty alright. And that's where the quality comes in. And this is sadly one of the things that we're really gonna have to fight for most. I'm a big believer in quality over quantity. I mean, some people already know that. But when we start getting to a point where we add things just because maybe someone will like it in the update, it sort of brings all the other content down. I've mentioned this before, so I'll make it brief. But if we have 9 new maps added, and only 2 of them are good, you're inevitably going to spend less time playing the really good maps, and more time playing the maps that you really never even want to play again. And I could go on and on about how this wraps back around into cohesiveness and unity and all that shit, but you understand the idea. I think at the end of the day, as sad as it is, the one thing that separates a major update from the updates that we're getting now is effort. Effort. People just want effort. People just want effort put into the updates. People are not stupid anymore. They can tell when Valve just nabbed a bunch of content off of the workshop and plundered it into their fucking game without a care in the world. Versus when Valve took the time to consider what met TF2's standards. So with that said, despite what a lot of people tend to ask for in, I want more content, I want new stuff into the game, I actually think that what makes a major update major isn't being major at all. Major in the sense of adding a ton of new shiny toys. Look at End of the Line, for example. End of the Line is kind of unique in this case. It was universally panned, and it definitely had its faults, but the main thing that people had an issue with was the lack of new weapons, the lack of a new map that was continuously hyped up over the time. But in spite of that, it's still considered to be a major update. It's not a very good one, but people still consider it to be such. And if you really want to be fucking crazy about it, the 119th update is listed as a major update on the TF2 wiki, and always has been listed as a major update, despite essentially adding like 3 or 4 new badges. Okay? That sort of proves that you don't need to have a shit ton of content dumped into your game in order to add the major update label to it. It's the care. It's the magic. And that magic lies in one key word. Effort. Effort from Valve. That's all that makes a major update major. If Valve were to release a major update where all they did was add one new map, a 3-minute cinematic short, and a couple of new hats that were all centered around a theme that wasn't seasonal, I think the community would actually be pretty universal in considering that a major update, despite the fact that way less stuff has been added to the actual core game. So what does this all mean? I just want you to tell me what makes a major update major, and how are they different? Like, what? I don't understand any of this. In my humble opinion, major updates aren't as different from the current updates we're actually getting, at least content-wise and quantity-wise. We still get new maps, we still get new hats, and we still get new taunts and effects, etc., etc. The real difference is mostly in that spice. It's the promotional material from Valve. It's the strong theming. It's the care. That is what makes a major update major. And that is really all that I want if we were to ever get a major update. I don't need a shit ton of new maps. I don't need any new weapons. All I really need is just some effort from Valve. And I think that would be a great update. You know the usual shebang, discussion. I love hearing it. Do you guys agree with this? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe out there.